be honest with you, America is like probably one of the worst places I've experienced for food. Because my race started on the West Coast and finished on the East. When I was on the kind of coastal end of each side, I found that the food was okay and I could get vegetables. And like they understood that. But then once I started to get into Central America, like in the middle, like vegetables other than hash browns were like absent. Like I'd go into a diner and I'd be like, give me some hash browns, and I'd be like, what vegetables do you have? She'd be like, we have a tomato. And I'd be like, all right, cool, cut me up, slice me a tomato. She'd bring out this tomato and I'd be like, you eat this tomato, it tastes like a tire. Like I couldn't even eat it. It was just horrendous. I went into a place and they were making like burgers. And I told the girl, I was like, don't give me one with meat. Like, just make me a separate one with vegetables. And she's like, what vegetables? I'm like, look, just put lettuce, tomato, and carrots in there, whatever. And she kind of gave me this fun that she didn't even know how to charge me for it. She had to call a manager. Like, I was like, it's just a veggie sandwich. Put it through as a veggie sandwich. She's like, we don't know. She was telling me, like, we don't know what that is. Like, I'm like, how? It's just foreign. I was trying to eat fruit, but honestly, once I left, like, the first 2 states, I really couldn't find fruit. So I was basically just limited to eating some forms of candy, hash browns, drinks, and nuts. It was terrible. So, like, I'd just be pounding it. Like, I'd be just gross. Eating becomes disgusting. Like, you eat, like, 10 packs of nuts in, like, 60 seconds.
Ooh.
You know, you might eat a loaf of bread. You know, like, you'll just eat a loaf of bread on the bike. Like, I'd be riding and just be eating a loaf of bread as I'm riding. Like, you'll just go through a loaf of bread.
How many hash browns in one sitting? How many hash
browns? Mm-hmm. It depends on how big the plate is or what the serve was. But I'd go into one of these diners and I'd be like, give me like 12 serves, 13 serves.
Wow.
Yeah. But I was thinking about
and then bring me some toast and some oatmeal and things like that. But there's so many keys that you learn along the way. And I always say this one is the biggest example for me. But the biggest one that you kind of use in the race, this kind of tool you have, is just being able to continue when you don't want to. Like, kind of almost being able to go above, you know, just your emotions and what you're thinking. Because when you're out there and, like, your will to survive is, like, displayed in 2 aspects. Like, the same drive to survive is the same reason behind you wanting to quit. Like, so the same thing making it easy is also, on another hand, can make it really hard. So, like, you'll be faced with, like, I want to quit, I don't want to do it, like, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve to be here. But if you can kind of go beyond that, just through the skill of, like, not paying attention to how you're thinking and just continue because you know you can, because you're in control, you'll get to the bit where that same thing kind of trying to shut you down now takes you to the next level. And it's like, wow, like, we're going to give you all the tools necessary to continue and make it easy for you.
I think it's super important that people who are listening take this conversation and all the messages and things you've spoken about and adapt that to or apply that to their everyday life. Because obviously, you know, hardly anyone's going to go and do an endurance race like you've done. But I think there are lessons that we can apply to every single thing in our lives. And I think that's super important for people listening to do. Yeah,
for sure. I think, honestly, that's what I do. Like, I can't rely on this 2-week race or whatever to, you know, that can't carry me through the whole year. You know, like, for me, it was cool because I'd get a taste of these things and I would bring them back to just normal daily life where I lived life like most people. Like, you know, you'd go to work, you'd come home, you'd eat, you'd have your girlfriend, you'd talk to your girl, you know, friends or whatever. And I had to kind of break down what I experienced out there and see how I could apply them in just daily life in general. And what was driving my levels of enjoyment out there, like what made it so good. Do you know? Because I can't rely on the intensity. Like, you can't just, you know, some people think, like, I used to think that the answer was just suffering all the time. But there's only so many hours in the day. Like, there's only so much suffering you can inflict on yourself before it becomes too much, you know. I had to find a better way. So I'd be looking out there and seeing what was driving my enjoyment. And the biggest one for me was just focus, literally, just focus and attention. That's huge. That was massive for me. Like, I brought that back, and, like, just every day waking up and realizing that focus and attention were, like, the main things that were going to make my life enjoyable and allow me to feel content. Like, it changed everything. If I wasn't paying attention and not focusing, it was almost like life was happening, but I never realized because my glasses were foggy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, when
absolutely.
I could focus, it was like wiping the fog off my glasses, and that's when I was like, oh shit, like, I'm a human. And I didn't realize. Like, I said to someone, like, it was like waking up, as in, like, waking up from a deep sleep where you have eyes but you can't see, ears but you can't hear. That's what it feels like when you're unfocused. Like, you're just asleep all the time. And then once you get the focus, it's like waking up.
Yep, love it. It reminds me of the scene, again, we're going back to The Matrix, when Neo is waking up and he says, why do my eyes hurt?
And Morpheus says, because you've never used them before.
Yeah.
yes, that's a good.
We're looking,
the metaphor
but we're not
of being
seeing.
asleep, having eyes and not seeing is like, it's such a good metaphor, you know, like because that's literally so much of us. Like imagine like how many things happen per day, but you're just unaware because you're not focused and you're just like your attention's torn apart. Like your senses are good for nothing at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Abdullah, in November last year, you did